Hey, it's Nico from the band Whorticulture, and today I want to talk about how to trick your brain into being more productive. Let's discuss. So if you're like me, you have a lot of projects and goals and tasks that you want to get done. This could be anything from creative projects like, I don't know, making a song or making an entire album. Maybe you want to make some sort of live performance, a comedy show, an app, a game, anything creative, right? Those are all big projects. Or maybe it's just something at home. Like, for instance, maybe you keep not cleaning your kitchen. I'm not saying that that's me, of course. That's you. I'm accusing you of not doing this. You keep walking by and looking at it and going, "Oh yeah, I really should clean this." Anyway, doop. I'm gonna move my arms while in a chair. And again, if you are like me, you probably have a lot of projects that aren't started or have been started but are not finished. And these projects are things that you find yourself continuously putting off. You think about them. You want to do them, at least in some respect. Maybe you just want to have it finished, but maybe you don't always want to do the work, or it sounds overwhelming. There's a lot going on in that project. I mean, think about all the steps of making an album. Writing all the music, writing the lyrics, arranging all the songs, recording all the instruments and the vocals, and then doing all the editing and pre-production, and then doing all the mixing, and then, I'm getting tired just thinking about it. And the same thing is true with household projects. If you're trying to organize your garage, or maybe refinish your basement, or do something, make the lawn look good, or do some landscaping in the backyard. There's tons. It doesn't have to only be home and creative projects, but there's tons of things we mean to do, and they sound so like the project is so big and so overwhelming that we're start putting it off, and I don't know. Or maybe all the tasks involved are really tedious, and you keep thinking about how mundane and boring and monotonous everything you have to do. You want that thing done, and you're I have to do all these dumb little steps, and this sucks, and I don't want to do that. I want to do something fun. And again, you move your arms in a chair. The point with all these examples is that there's always a barrier in your way, right? To either continuing a project that you stopped, or to start a project that you keep meaning to do and never do. There's all these intimidation barriers, there's tedium barriers, there's confusion barriers, there's overwhelm. There's a lot of aspects going on just up here in your brain parts that are keeping you from doing it. Every time you think about it, you mean well, you want to have it done, and you just keep not doing it. So, what can we do about it? Well, lots of things. Goodbye. So what I've found is that if we can simply trick our brains into just starting, oftentimes we will continue to work. It's very hard to keep working if you don't even put yourself in the place where you could work. It's like a lot of writers will talk about just sitting down at the computer every day and just writing, even if it's good or not good, if it's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. Today I had toast in the morning. Obviously, that's probably not going to be the next thrilling chapter in their novel, but it's just putting yourself in the place in which work could be done, and making it as easy as possible to do that work, and finding ways to get us to just try it or to get started makes such a huge difference. So I like to call this very first step setting the table. It's basically like getting things ready for you to actually do the work. We're not even thinking about doing the work yet, because as soon as you start thinking about doing the work, your brain is going to start getting resistant, and it's going to start saying, no thanks, don't care, don't want it, hate it, don't want to do those things. If you start going, well, let's start doing the first step, your brain often goes, very angry, and then gets gelled. Yeah, never mind. So this is why we have to trick our brain, because as Stephen Pressfield says, I like his term resistance he talks about in The War of Art, that we're always sort of fighting this resistance that keeps us from doing the thing that needs to get done, whether that's, again, creative or just practical day-to-day kind of stuff. So setting the table, what does that look like? Well, it depends on the project, right? Depends on what the task is at hand. Something creative on the computer. What's the very first thing that you would need to do to start working on this? Well, let's make sure the computer's on. So if the computer's not on, I would say that's your very first task for setting the table. Hard to do work if the computer's off, right? So what you do is you trick your brain by not telling it that you're going to work. You give it something really easy, like you treat it like a child. That's how you have to treat it. You really do. You have to treat it like a fucking child and go, hey there, brain. What? I know you don't really want to work on this project. No, it's hard and it's dumb and I don't want to, and I want to watch TV. Like, okay, I hear you. I hear that does sound nice. Say, wouldn't it be nice though to have that project done? Well, yeah, I mean, I want to have it done, but I don't want to do the work. Okay. Well, what would be something like really easy that you could do? That's barely even work, of course, barely even work. That might help us get toward that. I don't know. Like, really easy? Yeah, very easy. Pat, pat, pat. How about we just like turn the computer on? You could do that, right? I mean, that's easy. Yeah, I guess that's easy. Yeah, I could do that. I could turn the computer on, but nothing else though. No, of course not. Nothing else. So let's say you go and do that and you turn on the computer. Okay, that's a start. And sometimes just being at the computer and turning it on, if it was off, is enough to get you to just automatically just start working on the thing. If it's not, if you find yourself turning the computer on and going, okay, I'm gonna walk away now. That's fine, don't beat yourself up about it. The point is we're tricking our brain with baby steps to get there. So what would the next step be in this thing? Well, for me, it'd probably be opening whatever application you use. And I would also add a second step here, that you also open whatever your project file is. Just open it so that way it's up and ready, you're staring at it. So next time, when you come back to the computer, assuming you walk away after this, it's just there. So you're able to do the work right away. If it's editing, you can make your first edit, or you can hit spacebar and it'll start playing the song, or you can start typing a word and it's exactly where you left off in that document, right? The point is you're making these things very easy. And every one of these steps along the way, if your brain is feeling extra resistant, stop, walk away. Treat it, again, like a child. Like you have to sometimes bribe a child. Okay, we're gonna go to the doctor, but after we'll take you out to ice cream. If ice cream actually literally works for you, do it. Now be careful about doing that every day and across the entire day, multiple steps, because that's eventually not gonna be super healthy. But, even just a little treat like, okay, all we have to do, brain, is turn on the computer, open up the application and put the file up. Like, you can do that, right? Well, okay, I could do that, I guess. Like, cool, you know what, that's all you have to do. Because after that, then we're gonna go and we're gonna basically sit down and relax and watch an episode of something on Netflix. You like that, right? Yeah, I like laying down and watching stuff on Netflix. Cool, well, let's do that. Let's open up the program and then that's all we gotta do. Easy, right? So basically that's you tricking and convincing your brain and kind of giving it what it wants in some ways. If it wants to relax, or you want to watch Netflix or YouTube or play a video game, then use that as leverage on yourself, as funny as that might sound. Treat yourself, bribe yourself, saying, hey, all I have to do is get the program up, get the file up, ready to go, ready to be worked on, and then you can walk away and you can play a game. You can watch something on Netflix. You can, watch an episode of something or a show on YouTube. But then come back and try whatever you think the next baby step is, because this is where, of course, you get the work done. Now, if you're doing something Around the house, the idea would be to take away as many barriers as possible. You want to make it as easy as possible for you to start whatever that task is. So you can break this down into tiny, tiny baby steps and just do one tiny little step and then walk away. Same thing. Treat yourself. Go outside for a little bit, take a short walk around the block, watch a quick thing again on YouTube, play a little bit of a video game or an idle game or something on your phone. You know, not too long. Don't spend hours with your treat or your reward. But give yourself that little distraction and that little bit of sort of pacifying behavior that your brain wants. Give it that little bit of a reward, the same way you would do with a child, and then go, okay, how about we try one more? We can do another one, right? You know, you want to wash your dishes. Back to that example that has nothing to do with me at all. So what you would do is, like, the first step would be, I don't have a dishwasher. I mean, the person in the example doesn't have a dishwasher. So you have to do them by hand. He has to. Whew, covering this up well. Yeah, I have to do them by hand. So the first step with me would be not just stare at the pile of dishes that I got to do and go, oh God, I don't want to start. Would be, okay, what's the first thing? Well, I'm gonna fill up one side of my sink with hot, soapy water. Just fill it up. Okay, well, I can do that. That doesn't, like, my brain goes, okay, I can do that. That's not so bad. So I do that. I just simply start, you know, I plug up the drain and start putting some soap in there and start filling up some hot water. Then what do? I walk away and my house floods. No, obviously I stop the water first, but then I walk away. That wasn't so bad, my brain says. So I relax for a bit, then I come back. And the very next step is to let the dishes soak. So I put the dishes into the hot soapy water. I just pile them in, as many can fit in there. So it might be several phases, but I just start doing that. And I go, okay, that wasn't so bad. But I'm not gonna start scrubbing the dishes and let them soak. So it's perfect, I get to walk away. Again, watch something on YouTube. And then I come back and I go, okay, how about now? What can I do now? So I'll trick myself into saying, like, okay, how about 2 dishes? You can do 2, or if it's really resistant, just say 1. I'll just do one thing, 1 dish. If you're gonna organize something, like, I'm gonna move 1 box out of this room, of this cluttered room, and move 1 box. Tell yourself that. And then allow yourself to walk away if you're still feeling resistance. If you feel like you're willing to do a second box or to wash a second dish or to, you know, whatever the task is, great, then do it. But as soon as you feel resistance, listen to it, walk away, let yourself relax for a bit, you know, placate your brain as a child, give it the proverbial ice cream, and then come back with another small task you can do. So over time, treating it this way, with either just kind of setting the table, as I said, kind of making the environment ready for you to work, or if the environment's already ready for you to work, breaking that thing down into the teeniest, tiniest little individual tasks, doing that task, seeing how you feel. Again, if you can do another task or if you can continue working, great, because often that's what happens, is that your resistance will get lowered because you're only expecting to have to do a little thing. But sometimes you'll just get caught up in the task. Like, if I don't feel like working on music, but I know I need to get something done, I'll open the session, not expecting to be messing around with anything, but just having it ready and expecting that I'm gonna walk away and come back later. And sometimes I'll just go, well, let me hear what I worked on, and I'll just press play. And I'm like, oh, cool, and then I already know what I wanna do. Like, well, let me start doing this edit, and I'm gonna change the sound, and there you go, I'm working. And if I wouldn't have put myself in that position, if I wouldn't have made myself open that application and get the file ready, I wouldn't have made any progress that day. So, again, the whole point of this is tricking our brains into being productive when we're often resistant to it, to get these goals done that we keep putting off and we keep thinking about, going, fuck, I wish I could do that, and then no thanks, never mind. Sounds too hard, too overwhelmed, too tedious, too boring, whatever it is. So next time you're feeling that you wish you'd be working on more music, or you'd wish you'd continue writing more on that book, or working on your comedy routine, or graphic design, photography, or just shit around the house and you keep putting it off, try this out, see if it works. Trick your brain, tiny little steps, allow yourself to walk away if you need to, if you're feeling that strong resistance, if your brain's like, no, I don't want to do anymore. Okay, don't. Again, give into it, give it what it wants, a little bit, not for, again, for a day or for hours and hours, but whatever, you want to watch one episode of something, do it. Then come back and see what the very next step is. And like I said, the other technique is to set the table, and that is to get your application ready, your file ready, so it's just up. So you have no choice but to start working on it whenever you come back or at that time. So I hope those ideas are helpful for you. They have been helpful for me. In fact, I used it today to do this video, and I wasn't feeling it today. My energy was low and I was kind of like, today. But I knew I needed to make a video, and I committed to making a video. So what did I do? Did I just start making a video? No. I set up my lights. I set up my tripod. I got my little lav mic out, got everything hooked up, put the phone into the little tripod mount, and it was all ready to go. It's like, okay, well that just took away some of the barriers. It's less things now between me and making the video. And that made a lot of difference. It made it so much easier to just start and to talk about this with you. Cool, all right. Again, hopefully that was helpful. Be curious to see if you use it and it works for you. So anyway, thank you for watching. I am Nico from the band Whorticulture, and I'm gonna go do a workout. So I'll talk to you later. See ya.